Hello, we're going to look again today at the fifth of our series of 8 stories on Old Testament events involving water. And some people, not all people, but some people have seen that these events are pointing forward to truths about Christ and his salvation and the work of God's Spirit. And I leave it up to you to decide if you accept what some of these scholars say about these events, but they're interesting and worth just thinking about as they may picture some great truths about Christ and the work of the Spirit. Today's event is the crossing of the Jordan by the people of Israel in Joshua's day, found in Joshua chapter 3. And you will know in that story that before they were able to cross this great flowing river Jordan, they had the Ark of the Covenant going before them, carried by the priests. The Ark of the Covenant was a box in which God's laws were, and upon which the pillar of cloud resided, God's presence. And some people think that the Ark of the Covenant is a prefiguring of Christ. It represents Christ and God's presence in Christ. And some people think that the wooden staves or poles that are used to carry the ark are dimly foreshadowing the cross. So they would say that here in the Ark of the Covenant, with these wooden poles put through it, are a picture of Christ crucified, or Christ and his cross. Let's read the story a moment quickly. Joshua chapter 3 verse 12. It says, "Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth is crossing over before you into the Jordan. Now therefore, take for yourselves 12 men from the tribes of Israel, 1 man from every tribe. And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, that the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off, the waters that come down from upstream, and they shall stand as a heap." And so it was, when the people set out from their camp to cross over the Jordan, with the priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant before the people, and as those who bore the ark came to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests who bore the ark dipped in the edge of the water, for the Jordan overflows all its banks during the whole time of harvest, that the waters which came down from upstream stood still, and rose in a heap very far away from Adam, the city that is beside Zeratan. So the waters that went down into the sea of the Arabah, the salt sea, failed and were cut off, and the people crossed over opposite Jericho. Then the priests who bore the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of the Jordan, and all Israel crossed over on dry ground until all the people had crossed completely over the Jordan. An amazing event. Some people think that there was a mudslide far upstream which caused the waters to be cut off. And other people say that it was a miracle with no mud involved whatsoever. Whatever you think happened, it was definitely a miracle because of God's timing. God definitely cut the waters off, even though there have been mudslides recorded in this river. Particularly going back to the year 1927, where the river was blocked for 20 hours because of a mudslide. But God obviously did this miracle and caused them to cross this river at the precise moment that the ark and the priests stood in the river Jordan. Now, some people, and not everyone, but some people think that the flowing down Jordan, going past this city called Adam, is pictorial and is a picture of the inherited curses and inherited sins from our ancestors that flow down from our old Adam nature. And some scholars would say that the key phrase in this event is the word cut off. The waters of Jordan were cut off, and this represents the power of the cross shown by the Ark of the Covenant, representing Christ crucified, the power of the cross to cut us off from the heredity of sin, from all the generational sins and curses that a human soul may have inherited from his or her ancestors or parents. all souls, these scholars would say, all souls are troubled with the general heredity of sin from Adam. Now it's interesting, there is a city, probably the modern city of Damaya, but it was called Adam at that time, along this riverbank. All souls are troubled with the general heredity of sin from Adam. And there are further problems that many people have inherited from the sins of their ancestors. For instance, if a person's father was a Freemason or a Spiritist, then that person may find they have inherited strange oppressions or depressions or even psychic powers. The cross, represented by the Ark of the Covenant standing in the River Jordan with the wooden poles, cross of Christ, cuts us off cleanly from our heredity, and we are free. We are able to cross over into the blessings of God and be free from the inherited generational curses and sins that may flow down through our parents or our ancestors. And some scholars would say this is what is being pictured here. The cross cuts us off cleanly, and we can be free from those things.